What's up, guys? Coming to you today with Week 13 college football action on a packed Saturday of NCAA football here on November 22nd. We're going to cover a bunch of the biggest games of the day, and I'll give you my massive lock of the day and my favorite underdog pick of the day, so slam that like button and subscribe to the channel to make sure you keep seeing these videos every single day. Let us know what you're thinking in the comments. I personally read and answer every comment I get. Check the pinned comment throughout the day to see our favorite picks, and you should definitely check back a couple of times throughout the day to see if there are any changes with injury news coming out and personnel changes coming in at the last second. Last week on the college football side, guys, we were a little bit up and down, ended up 3-3 on the day. LSU let us down, 23-22 win for them, but not enough to cover for us. They continue to struggle offensively and lean way too hard on their defense to keep things together for them this season. We cashed Ohio State minus 31.5, a 48-10 blowout win for the Buckeyes, and honestly, we should have been even bigger on this game as they just completely outclassed UCLA and need to keep running up scores to make sure they do hold on to that top seed there in the college football playoff. We had Boise State +3, a big letdown there from Boise State as they only managed 7 points in a 17-7 loss to San Diego State. Nothing was going right offensively, and the Broncos find themselves on the wrong end of another tough game. We did cash BYU minus 3.5, though an easy blowout, 44-13 win there for BYU. An insane game from them offensively, and the defense looked very good in that one as well, being right there on the bubble of the college football playoff. Clearly a great motivator. So we'll see if they can keep things rolling. We had Pittsburgh +12.5 as our dog of the day, and apparently this was a much more ambitious dog of the day pick than we thought because the Panthers got blown out 37-15 in a game that honestly didn't even feel that close as the Fighting Irish were just controlling things the entire time. So Pitt's a decent team, but they're not really on that level, it turns out. Now, we did cash our massive lock of the day. We had the Missouri State Bears minus 4.5, and they continue to print wins for us as Missouri State gets the 38-24 win over a pretty weak UTEP squad. And Missouri State, they continue an extremely successful first season there in the Conference USA. So a 3-3 day will be looking to do a little bit better, at least in this one. We'll see. Lots and lots of games to cover here, guys. We'll break down what we did last week on the premium side there as well last week on college football. Also off to a 2-0 start this week. During the week, these games have been going exactly how our handicapper has predicted. He's off to a very solid 2-0 start this week, just in the the weekly games, not the ones happening on Saturday. So let's go ahead and dive in here, guys. We've got a barn burner of a game to get started with. We're going to be looking at the number 22 Mizzou Tigers as they go on the road to take on the number 8 Oklahoma Sooners. Missouri comes in this game fresh off a nice bounce back 49-27 win there against Mississippi State after a tough loss against Texas A&M, but they did play really, really well, albeit against a mediocre Bulldogs team. Now, Missouri, they're 7-3 on the season, so they're doing what they can. They have come up short against some tough opponents. In that win over Mississippi State, we didn't hate what we saw offensively. The running game was really what made the difference. Hardy, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns on 25 carries. That's insane. The passing game actually looked kind of mediocre, but they didn't need to throw the ball in this one. They could just run it and grind out that win. He did fumble it away once, Hardy did, but other than that, a very clean game. 49 points. A pretty solid offensive output there, and it was definitely helped by the defense. Defensively, Mizzou came up with 2 interceptions, gave up 27 points, but limited the pass, very much limited the run. It took Mississippi State 52 carries to get 110 rushing yards. Pretty bonkers there. Mizzou also forced a fumble turnover there, so a good day for Missouri defensively, and defense, especially historically, hasn't really been their MO, but this season, they've been excellent on that side of the ball, giving up only 19.9 points per game, but they're about to face another tough opponent, and they're, the opponents ranked higher than them. They haven't exactly had a great time against this season. Oklahoma comes into this game 8-2 on the year. They're fresh off a big 23-21 win there at number 4 Alabama. They also took down Tennessee the week before that. Yeah, Oklahoma looking like the real deal here. Now, in that win over Alabama, very solid stuff there across the board from Oklahoma. Quarterback play wasn't necessarily insane. 138 yards, 15 of 23. No touchdowns, but also no interceptions. So eliminating those costly game-breaking mistakes. The running game was working. Robinson had a pretty decent day, 34 yards on the ground for him. But overall, not a monster offensive day. They only put up 23 points, taking care of the ball, though. 0 turnovers in the game. Very, very key. And the defense really helped him out there against Alabama. They held Simpson to only 326 passing yards. That seems like a lot, but when you threw the ball 42 times, it's not quite that many. Picked him off once, did give up 1 passing touchdown, but also stopped the running game, giving up only 80 yards on 33 carries, 2 rushing touchdowns, but a very good day. They also generated 2 fumble recoveries. So yeah, if you win that turnover battle 3-0, you're going to win that game an awful lot. So a very good day there from Oklahoma, facing one of the best teams in the nation and only giving up 21 points. a very, very good day there from Oklahoma. And over the course of the season, they've been one of the best defenses out there, 8th in college football, giving up 14.8 points per game. That's pretty nuts. So looking at the numbers for this one, the Sooners, they're 7.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 42 in this game. And guys, I like Oklahoma here at -7.5. I don't feel like Missouri is the same level right now without their starting quarterback. That's obviously a huge problem. It was a huge problem last week. It didn't matter. But their recent 17-38 loss at home to Texas A&M, it really showed up. Missouri is still getting some respect with this spread, on the road, given they have a solid ground game and defense, but being one-dimensional on offense is not a recipe for success against Oklahoma's top-tier defense. The Sooners have surprised us with their back-to-back road upset wins over Tennessee and Alabama, and they've again become one of the most dangerous teams in the nation. Rolling along here, guys, we got the Minnesota Golden Gophers going on the road to take on the Northwestern Wildcats. Now, Minnesota, they're 6-4 on the season. They're currently 6th in the Big Ten, a 4-3 conference record. They're coming off a 42-13 beatdown there in Oregon, so that game didn't exactly go the way they would have hoped, but they've had some decent ups and downs this season, but that was definitely a bit of a downer, not being able to make that even competitive. Drake Lindsey had a bad day, completing only 19 of 32 passes, 1 touchdown, 138 yards to the air. The running game looked okay, but they weren't really able to dedicate too much to the run because they were just getting blown out. They were down 28-6 at halftime in this game, so not exactly a great look. They did a great job taking care of the ball, but the fact they still lost by nearly 30 points despite not turning the ball over isn't exactly a ringing endorsement. Now, defensively, giving up 42 points is bad. They couldn't stop the pass, let Dante Moore pass for 306 yards and complete 27 of 30 passes, so a lot of bad news there. Also couldn't stop the run. They did generate 1 fumble recovery, I guess, but really a pretty bad day out there for Minnesota defensively. They're 62nd in the nation in defense, so not exactly a monster of a team. And in these big step-up games, I mean, they did beat Nebraska when Nebraska was ranked, but when they played Ohio State earlier this season, they lost that game 42-3. So we'll see what they can do going on the road here to take on Northwestern. They're actually 11th in the Big Ten, but their 3-4 conference record is not terrible. They've lost 3 straight games, falling at Nebraska, at USC, and then last week against Michigan, they let one get away. They honestly should have beat then at number 18 Michigan. They ended up losing that game 24-22, but Northwestern played really, really well there. Preston Stone, 184 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but did a good job taking care of the ball. It was really the defense there for Northwestern that went nuts. They picked off Underwood twice. They couldn't stop the run. That was really the difference there in the end. They could not shut off that Wolverines running game, but really a very good day. They generated 5 turnovers, turned the ball over 0 times themselves, and still managed to lose this game by 2. That's pretty nuts. You would have expected something a little bit better there from Northwestern, but still a very good showing against a top-tier opponent, so they do deserve some credit. And over the course of the season, the Wildcats have been a bit all over the place, but right now they're 24th in the nation, giving up only 19.6 points per game. They're also in the top 50 in the nation rushing yards per game, so certainly some positives there for the Wildcats, and that's part of why they are 3.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 40.5. Northwestern, guys, that's going to be our pick in this one. We'll take the Wildcats -3.5. Minnesota has been awful on the road this season, 0-4 in road games. With all of these defeats coming by double digits, this should be one of the more manageable road games Minnesota has faced, but we still don't have confidence in the Golden Gophers away from their home field. Northwestern showed a ton of fight in their loss last week against Michigan on essentially a neutral site. This is Northwestern's best chance at reaching their 6th win and getting bowl eligible, so I expect a refocused squad coming in to try and grab this win at home and make themselves eligible for a bowl game. Hey guys, before we break down the Missouri State Bears going on the road to take on the Kennesaw State Owls, I want to jump in here and give a quick shout out to the sponsor today and every day's video, and that is StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and see the top confidence picks from our entire team of experienced cappers. Right now, our premium members are getting daily NBA, NHL, UFC, NFL, and college football picks. On top of that, college basketball has been rolling right along as well. We've had a very good week of college football picks, going 2-0 in the games during the week, not the ones on the weekend. Obviously, that's what we'll be looking at today, but it's been a very, very solid run over there at StumpTheSpread.com. Definitely want to get over there and check out all the premium stuff we offer. We've got a team of experienced cappers. Every single one has over a decade's worth of experience covering his given sport, and a ton of research, a ton of analytics going into every single game. So definitely want to get in on that. You also want to go over to StumpTheSpread.com and check out all of the free stuff that we offer. We got free picks posted over there every single day. There's a free NCAA football pick in there just waiting for you guys. There'll be free college basketball ones there. Just go to StumpTheSpread.com, click that free picks tab. Those picks will be right there waiting for you. You can also use our free to use bet size calculator while you're over there. That's a great resource, and you got to get over there to get on that free email newsletter. There will be at least 1, maybe 2 or 3 free college football picks in that newsletter. So so you definitely want to get in on that this weekend. Tons of NFL touchdown and player props and just straight up against the spread picks in that email as well. So tons of great information every single weekend on football, but all during the week, college basketball, NBA, hockey, all have an excellent chance to end up in those emails. So definitely want to get in on that, guys. And it's very easy to sign up. All you have to do is click the link in the description or type stumpthespread.com into your browser of choice. That'll take you to the site. You'll click the little green login button at the top right-hand corner. They're going to ask you for your name and your email address. That is it. And you'll get one email straight to your inbox every single day with tons and tons of great sports betting information. So certainly want to be taking advantage of that. Last week on the college football side of the premium action, it was a bit of an up and down week. Honestly, it wasn't terrible, but a couple of tough games there to finish the day did turn the day in kind of a negative direction. But we cashed East Carolina -3. We cashed Georgia -6. Baylor, they couldn't quite make it happen there as an underdog. We did have Northwestern plus 11.5. That was a very solid game from them and a nice 2-unit play to cash. Cashing a 2-unit play there on Georgia and on Northwestern was nice, but UNLV laid an egg and USC really laid an egg for us. So it ends up being a 3-3 day, but definitely expecting better results here this weekend, especially with the way things have been going during the week, going 2-0 on those during the week college football games. So definitely want to get in on that, guys, here in week 13 of college football action. Also, if you're a huge fan of what you're seeing from us here every single day, you can click that little join button right below the video to sign up for a YouTube channel membership. YouTube channel members get early access to all of our videos, get their name up on screen in every single video, but most importantly, they get access to our members only giveaways. We do a members only giveaway here every single week. We give away a Stump the Spread hoodie to one random channel member. We put the name of every single YouTube channel member on a big wheel. We spin that wheel live on the video, and whoever it lands on gets a Stump the Spread hoodie mailed straight to their address. So definitely want to get in on that if you're interested. Really appreciate all my YouTube channel members, guys, but let's go ahead and dive back in now. We got to look at our cash cow. We've got the Missouri State Bears going on the road to take on the Kennesaw State Owls. Missouri State comes into this game looking great. This is their first FBS season. It's their first season in the Conference USA. They're currently third. They're only one game back of Jacksonville State, one win back of Western Kentucky. The Bears have been playing great. They're coming off a 38-24 win over UTEP, which was our lock of the day last week on college football, and it came through for us very comfortably. In that win, Missouri State jumped out to a nice lead there at halftime, up 24-7. Jacob Clark just looking like a monster out there. 330 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, completed 30 out of 39 passes. Dominant stuff. Lawrence actually looked really good in the running game as well. The Bears being able to move the ball on both levels there is very important. A solid day out there. 0 turnovers in the game. A clean, dominant performance there from the Bears. The defense also looked excellent, shutting down the pass, only giving up 125 passing yards, only giving up 115 rushing yards. You can't really ask for too much more. I guess they didn't come with any takeaways in that game, but a very good day out there for Missouri State across the board. They just continue to look better and better as the season goes on. They're not necessarily a defensive juggernaut, but they are 32nd in the entire nation in passing yards per game. Jacob Clark, a very talented quarterback option there for a team newly coming into the FBS. Now, the Bears will go on the road in this one to take on the Kennesaw State Owls, who have had a very good year of their own. They're 5-1 in conference play as well. They're 7-3 overall. They come into this game fresh off a tough loss there against Jacksonville State, who has been the best team in the Conference USA this season. In that loss, it was a road loss, so Kennesaw State, give them a little bit of credit there. It was a road loss still, but we didn't love what we saw in terms of quarterback play. I mean, Williams the second, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Odom was terrible, 248 yards and got picked off 3 times. Really, that's what ended up costing this team the game. They ran the ball pretty successfully. It did take them 46 carries to get to those 217 yards and 2 touchdowns, but they were able to move the ball. So it will be a test here for Missouri State's defense, but we'll see what Kennesaw State can do in this one. Defensively last week, looked very vulnerable to the run, giving up 252 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. They also couldn't stop the pass. Now, it's not like Jacksonville State is really a pass-first kind of team like Missouri State is. So, yeah, the Owls are going to have a little bit of a test there for their secondary in this one. So, we'll see how it goes. They weren't able to generate any takeaways last week either. And over the course of the season, they're not a terrible defense. They're 50th, giving up 22.5 points per game. So, we'll see what it looks like in this one. They are 6.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 57 in this game. guys, we are not abandoning Missouri State now. We'll take them plus 6.5. It'd really be a crime if they weren't able to at least go for a bowl game this season, given how impressive the squad has been in their first year at the FBS level. The Bears have won 5 straight games in the Conference USA. This squad has been great away from home, winning 4 straight true road games. We've been saying all season that Missouri State is a consistent threat in any Conference USA game, given the high level of quarterback play they're getting from Jacob Clark. Kennesaw State's coming off a disappointing 26-35 loss at Jacksonville State. It'll be interesting to see how the Owls bounce back in this one, but I still think even if Missouri State can't come away with a win, they keep this game very, very close. Rolling through these games, we're looking at the Arkansas Razorbacks going on the road to take on the Texas Longhorns. The Razorbacks are 2-8 on the season, having a very rough time. They were fresh off that 23-22 loss last week at LSU, and while they did keep things relatively competitive in that game, not a lot of good news developing here for Arkansas. They've just had a really, really rough season. They're still 0-6 in SEC play, looking for their first conference win of the season, and they've got Texas and Mizzou still coming up. That's going to be pretty tough to find a win. We'll see what they can do in this one against LSU, a team that's very good on defense, not so much on offense. We did not like what we saw from Taylon Green. 165 yards and 2 interceptions in the passing game is not great. The running game was okay. 175 yards on 35 carries and a couple rushing touchdowns looks good, but you got to be able to move the ball a little bit through the air or at least not throw it to the other team. They also fumbled it away once, so just not exactly a banner day there on the road from Arkansas. Now they got to go on the road to play a much better team in this one. Seems like it might be a bit rough. Defensively, they didn't look amazing, giving up a lot to Michael Van Buren Jr. there in the passing game. Couldn't stop the run either. They generated 0 turnovers. This Arkansas team, I don't want to say that they're falling apart, but it's kind of starting to trend in that direction. I mean, the end of the season is approaching, and they are looking not great. Not great. It's been a rough season out there. Over the course of the year, they are 122nd in the nation, giving up 32.3 points per game, and I don't see a whole lot of reason that's going to get better here at the end of the season. So we'll see if they can give the Longhorns a game. Texas, they are 17th in the nation, 7-3 overall. They're fresh off a 35-10 loss at Georgia. That makes sense to me, guys. Georgia is clearly the better team here, but we'll see. We didn't hate everything we saw. Arch Manning, a mediocre day, 27-43, 251 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Also, the Longhorns couldn't really get the running game going, which I guess isn't a huge surprise, but they could have maybe done a little bit more, but they were facing one of the scariest defenses that exists in college football right now. So we'll see what they can do this time. Defensively, they also weren't good. Georgia really got a fantastic game from Gunnar Stockton, who was picked off once, but he also completed 24 of 29 passes for 229 yards and 4 touchdowns. So a pretty brutal day there for the Longhorns defensively, albeit going up against an elite level opponent. So we'll see if they can bring it back to reality here a little bit. They are 15th in the nation still, only giving up 18.3 points per game this season defensively. So look at the numbers here, guys. The Longhorns are -9. We've got a total of 57.5. I'll take the Texans here. We did like it just slightly better at -8.5, but 9 isn't too much different. Texas has been significantly better at home than on the road this season. We see that trend continue in this one for the Longhorns. Arkansas, they're 2-8 overall, 0-6 in the SEC. Although they're better than what their record would indicate, this is a tough spot for the Razorbacks going into the second leg of a back-to-back road trip. Arkansas is 122nd in the nation in total defense. We see that being the main difference maker in this one. Texas should have one of the better offensive showings in SEC play in this matchup, and they need every bit of it. They should be motivated to run up the score in this one if they have the chance. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the UConn Huskies going on the road to taking the Florida Atlantic Owls. UConn, 8-3 on the season, having a very good year, fresh off a 10-point win there over Air Force. That was after a nice 37-34 win over Duke. They've done some very positive stuff. If it wasn't for hiccup losses against teams like Rice, Delaware, and that loss at Syracuse early in the season, this squad would be looking very, very good. They come into this game fresh off that win against Air Force, and well, they didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard. They did a lot of positive stuff. Fagano actually had a bad day, but the running game was really what brought it home. Cam Edwards, 24 carries, 165 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. As a team, they had 3 rushing touchdowns, 192 yards on the ground on 30 carries. Dominant stuff. This team isn't going to leave anything up to chance. They'll just run the ball against you 30 or 40 times and come away with that win. They didn't turn the ball over at all except for that 1 interception there by Fagano, and defensively, they looked excellent. They really slowed down that the Air Force Falcons rushing attack, didn't let anything get going through the air, which is kind of, not something that Air Force even tries to do, which is pretty ironic if you ask me, but a very, very solid game defensively there from UConn, who's been excellent this season overall. They are 69th in the nation in points against, but they're 19th in points per game. They're 67th in rushing yards per game, and they're in the top 15 in passing yards per game. Like, this is a very, very dangerous team. So we'll see what they can do going on the road against Florida Atlantic. The Owls are only 4-6 on the season. They just lost by 11 last week at Tulane and haven't done well at all in their step-up games. Does this count as a step-up game? I would say it just maybe does, guys. At Tulane, their last time out, it did not look good at all, really, for Florida Atlantic. Yeah, very suspect quarterback play. They did pass for 375 yards, but also 3 interceptions. Didn't get too much going on the ground. Fumbled the ball away once as well. Like, just a brutal, mistake-riddled performance there. And defensively, they had no answers for Tulane, whether it was through the air or on the ground. I guess they did come up with 1 interception, but they gave up 35 points in this game and really just had no answer there from McClure or just anybody, honestly. It was not a very good showing there from Florida Atlantic. I was a bit underwhelmed, and they come into this game 128th in the nation in points against. They are first in the nation in passing yards. Congrats. We'll see if that keeps on going here against the Huskies, who aren't exactly a monster team defensively, but they're good enough. And looking at the numbers, Florida Atlantic's getting 7 points here at home. We've got a total of 65.5. Guys, I like UConn here quite a bit. I'll take them at -7. It's really unfortunate they aren't in a conference, as they've flown completely under the radar this season at a very respectable 8-3 overall record. UConn has made significant strides on the offensive side of the ball, 23rd in the nation in yards per contest. They've taken their play up a notch during their current 3-game winning streak, wins over Duke, Air Force, so very good stuff there. FAU has consistently come up short against the tougher teams they've faced. I think that definitely continues in this one. I will certainly take UConn here to win this game, probably by a couple touchdowns. Rolling right along, guys, we're looking at the East Carolina Pirates going on the road to take on UTSA Roadrunners. East Carolina is 7-3 on the year, having a pretty good time. They've won 4 straight games, taking down Tulsa, Temple, Charlotte, and then last week a 31-27 win there over Memphis. Obviously, this isn't a team that's ready to run with the big dogs. I mean, they got kind of blown out by BYU earlier this season, but at 5-1 in the American, they're doing some pretty good stuff. I'm relatively impressed. And in their win over Memphis, a pretty good team. East Carolina looked good. Hauser, 1 touchdown, 332 yards through the air. Very solid there. Montgomery, 27 carries for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. They did all of this with only 1 turnover. Hauser did fumble it away once, but other than that, a very, very clean game offensively, looking really good, and defensively, giving up 27 points to Memphis is not a terrible showing. They gave up 1 touchdown pass, but also had an interception. They gave up 240 yards on the ground, which isn't ideal. They seemed a little bit vulnerable there to the long run, but you take out that 1 mistake there against Sutton Smith, and maybe this looks completely different. Only 1 turnover generated, and they did give up 27 points, but overall, they come away with the win, and they look pretty solid, and they're 15th in the NCAA football rankings. They're giving up only 18.3 points per game. So this is a solid team on both sides of the ball. They're going on the road here to take on UTSA. The Roadrunners are 5-5 on the season. They're coming off a nice 28-7 win, and they're over Charlotte, but Charlotte's 0-7 in American play, guys. This is one of the worst teams in college football, so we'll see what they can do. It was a big bounce back after getting obliterated there by USF, but we'll see. Of course, their statistics look very, very good there against Charlotte. The passing game was working, 306 yards through the air for Owen McGowan. 1 interception, though, to go along with his 2 touchdown passes. Will Henderson III, 19 carries, 185 yards, and a touchdown. So UTSA played well, albeit against one of the worst teams in the nation. Giving up only 7 points is a great day defensively. They didn't generate hardly any turnovers, just the 1, but a good day, albeit against a terrible opponent. Now, over the course of the season, they are 111th in the nation, giving up 30.4 points per game. I don't know how they're going to really fare in this one. They are playing at home. They're getting 2.5 points. We got a total of 62.5, but guys, I'll take East Carolina here for sure at under field goal favorites. I think East Carolina is one of the better group of 5 teams in the nation. The Pirates have put up solid numbers this season on both sides of the ball against a decently tough schedule. East Carolina has shown a lot of positive progress on the offensive side of the ball throughout the regular season. They're 14th in the nation in offensive output. UTSA has been a major disappointment this year. 5-5 overall. The Roadrunners rank significantly behind ECU on both sides of the ball, so definitely think ECU is going to come away with a comfortable win and cover in this one by more than a field goal. Next on the docket here, guys, we're looking at number 18 Michigan, the Wolverines. They're going on the road to take on the Maryland Terrapins. Now, the Wolverines, they're 8-2 on the season, coming off that 24-22 win there over Northwestern last week. They've been playing some close games, but they've been getting wins. Are they going to be able to make their way into the college football playoff? Well, an awful lot is going to depend on what they do against Ohio State there the week after this. So we'll see what they can do, see if they can stay locked in against Maryland in their win over Northwestern. We saw some pretty positive stuff, did what we would kind of wanted them to do. The problem was Bryce Underwood getting picked off twice. major mistakes going to have to be cleaned up there. But Jordan Marshall led the way, 19 carries, 142 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. As a team, they had 216 yards and 3 touchdowns there in the ground game. So very, very solid. Got to hold on to the ball, though. They could have lost this game just by the fact they turned the ball over 5 freaking times. 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles lost. You can't be doing that. So I'm sure ball security has been a huge, huge point of emphasis this week, just leading up to this game. Now, defensively, they were great. Giving up only 22 points is good. Slowing down, basically completely eliminating the running game, honestly, and slowing down the pass enough. They did not come away with any takeaways, so that's why this game ended up being a 2-point game. Gonna have to try and generate some more big plays, and really just got to take care of the freaking ball there offensively. It was a scare game. They should be locked back in for this one. Now, we'll see what they do here in Maryland. The Terrapins, they've had a rough time losing 6 games in a row. They just lost 24-6 last week at Illinois. They will be back home for this one, so maybe that's a plus, but things have really started to head the wrong direction there for Maryland. Malik Washington, 25-46 last week, 1 interception, 238 yards, 0 touchdown passes. The running game didn't get going at all. They just could not slow down Illinois that much defensively either. Let Altmaier get a lot done through the air. I guess Maryland did have 1 interception, but 0 fumbles forced and couldn't stop the run at all, giving up 225 yards on 48 carries. It was just a rough day there for Maryland. Just having a rough time of it right now. They're all the way down to 61st in the nation in points against. They're just not having the success they would have wanted. I mean, they lost to UCLA a few weeks ago, got obliterated by IU. It's just not heading in the direction that the Terrapins would have wanted. They are getting 13.5 points at home in this game. We've got a total of 45.5, but guys, I'll take Michigan here at under 2 touchdowns. If you can get them under 2 touchdowns in this road matchup, it looks very, very good. Pretty remarkable. They were still able to get the win last week against Northwestern, despite losing the turnover battle 5-0. Limiting the unforced errors will certainly be the focus for them this week. If they can win the turnover battle themselves, they should be able to win this one very easily against a struggling Maryland team that hasn't been great on either side of the ball. Just 1-6 overall in Big Ten play. Michigan has the clear talent advantage. That should be the difference maker in this one. The Wolverines have a lot more to play for at this point in the season. Rolling right along here, guys, we've got the Kansas State Wildcats going on the road to take on the Utah Utes. Kansas State 5-5 on the season, fresh off a win over Oklahoma State. Not exactly a pretty one. They end up winning 14-6, but they'll take it, even though that's what it took for them to win against the worst team in all of the Big 12. Definitely maybe fell victim to a look-ahead spot here with this big game against Utah looming. Now, in that win over Oklahoma State, we liked some of what we saw, I guess. Avery Johnson was fine, 177 yards, but that 1 interception and only 1 touchdown pass really makes things look a little less good. The running game was fine, 30 carries, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown, though. Not exactly a monster performance, and the defense really came through for us. There, 3 interceptions for Kansas State in that one. They did give up 147 yards on the ground, so that is concerning, but generating a total of 5 turnovers, very, very elite stuff. Now, this all came against a terrible team, but the defense had to step up for them to win this game at all, and it did step up, so they definitely deserve a lot of credit on that side of the ball. Kansas State looking for their chance here to A, play spoiler to Utah, and B, win their 6th game to become bowl eligible. Over the course of the season, their statistics are decent. They're 77th in the nation, giving up 25.5 points per game. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road. They're taking on the number 12 Utah Utes, who are 8-2 on the season. They're fresh off a 55-28 win there at Baylor. They're back home for this one. They just have Kansas State and Kansas left on their schedule. So they're going to be looking to finish things off strong here at Baylor last week. It looked good. Obviously, now Baylor not exactly a monster team, but we liked what we saw in terms of quarterback play. Dampier, 2 passing touchdowns, a total of 103 yards on the ground, completing only half their passes, though. Nothing too special. The running game was really what carried the load, guys. 380 rushing yards on 43 carries and 5 rushing touchdowns. That's nuts. That was a really, really dominant performance there in the running game. Definitely something they're going to be trying to replicate in this one. Will they be able to? We'll have to wait and see. Now, defensively last week, certainly some concerns. They gave up 430 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. They did have a couple interceptions, but they also gave up 133 yards on the ground. The defense for Utah just not looking good in this game. Not looking very good at all. So we'll see if they've got a bit of a bounce back in them. Over the course of the season, they're 10th in college football, giving up 15.6 points per game. So that all looks good, but got to take care of business here these last couple of games if they want to make their way into the college football playoff. And they are 17.5-point favorites at home in this game. We've got a total of 51.5. Guys, we're going to be taking Kansas State here, getting 17.5 points. I feel like they're better than their record indicates, but the concern in this one would be how much the Wildcats care at this point in the year. Perhaps playing a spoiler is enough for K-State to show up in a big way in this one, as well as the fact that a win gets Kansas State bowl eligibility. Kansas State has also been playing a bit better as of late, winning three of their last four Big 12 games. Both of these teams can slow things down and be fairly solid on the defensive side of the ball, which should make this a lower scoring affair than what the total would indicate. We like Kansas State to keep things competitive enough to get the cover, and you could throw a little bit on the under in this game. Under 51.5 does seem reasonable to me in this spot. Rapid fire through these games, we're looking at number 21, the Illinois Fighting Illini, going on the road to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. Illinois 7-3 on the season. They're coming off a 24-6 win there over Maryland. They're doing what they need to do to, keep themselves above water. They're bowl eligible, all that kind of stuff. Is it within reach for them to make it into the college football playoff? I don't think that's a possibility, but they did play well last week against Maryland. 24-6 win against anybody's not too bad. Altmaier was fine, 15 of 25, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The running game is what really made things work there for Illinois. Loved what we saw, 48 carries, 225 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Illinois only had that 1 turnover as well, and the defense played great. Made tons of trouble there from Malik Washington, also shut down the Maryland running attack, and anytime you give up only 6 points is a very dominant day there defensively for any college football team. Over the course of the season, they are 68th in the nation, giving up 23.9 points per game, but their running game, their passing game, honestly, this is a pretty complete team for the Fighting Illini. Just made a couple too many mistakes during the season to make themselves have a chance at a bowl game, or not a bowl game, have a chance at the college football playoff. Now, Wisconsin, they come into this game floundering. They're 1-6 in Big Ten play. They're fresh off a 31-7 loss there against number 2 IU. They did beat Washington the week before that when Washington peaked their heads there into the top 25. But yeah, Wisconsin not exactly having the season of their dreams. In that 31-7 loss, Carter Smith looked pretty bad under center. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, only 98 yards through the air. The running game couldn't get anything going either. The Hoosiers, clearly the much more dominant team here. And yeah, Wisconsin going to have a fight on their hands here, even playing at home. Defensively, they had no answers for the passing game there of Mendoza. They let him pass for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and couldn't stop the run necessarily either. So just a brutal situation here for Wisconsin. Over the course of the season, they're 57th in the nation, giving up 23.2 points per game, but I just don't have a ton of great stuff to say about the Badgers right now. They're getting 7.5 points at home. We've got a total of 40.5 in this game, but I'll take Illinois minus 7.5. They haven't quite lived up to their sky-high expectations this season. 7-3 overall, but this is a veteran group that's generally done a good job taking care of business against teams they're supposed to beat. We've seen this from Illinois in their last 2 outings. They're coming off back-to-back blowout wins. They're taking down Rutgers and Maryland. We don't have any confidence in Wisconsin on the offensive side of the ball, as the Badgers rank 134th in the nation yardage per game. We look for Illinois to outpace the Badgers on the scoreboard in this one, and for the Illini to the win and cover. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Tennessee Volunteers going on the road to take on the Florida Gators. Now, number 20 Tennessee comes in this game 7-3 on the season. They've just got this showdown against Florida, and then they take on Vanderbilt to close their season. Maybe they've got an outside chance at the college football playoff, but seems kind of unlikely to me. In their blowout win last week in a walkover game against New Mexico State, obviously everything played out exactly how the Volunteers would want. A 42-9 win, taking care of business exactly how you would think. But Aguilar did get picked off twice. A pretty bad look to do that against a team that's 0-5 in their conference and 3-7 overall. The running game took care of business, though. The Volunteers continue to be an elite level running team, just putting up tons and tons of points in this game and dominant stuff there on defense. But let's keep in mind they did that against a terrible opponent. The last good opponent they faced was Oklahoma, and that was a barn burner of a game. They eventually lose 33-27. So they've shown they can be good, but they've also shown they can't really run with the big dogs. But how much is that going to matter in this game? They're not really playing a big dog here. Over the course of the season, the defense hasn't been great, but offensively, the passing game and the just the offense in general, putting up 43.4 points per game. That's second best in college football. So we'll see what they can do here in Florida, taking on the Gators, who are 3-7 on the season. They just lost last week at Ole Miss, putting up a decent performance, eventually losing by 10 there, but they at least kept it, kind of competitive, at least until the second half, where they got shut out in the second half. But Lagway, not amazing. 218 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The running game was fine, but not great. And defensively, they had no answers there for Ole Miss, giving up 300 yards to the air, giving up 237 yards on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns as well. just does not look like Florida's really ready to, even stand up against any big level team there defensively. They're 62nd in the nation on defense, and they've been much worse than that over the last 3 weeks. So not loving what we're seeing from Florida. Feels like they've kind of let go of the rope this season. They're getting 4 points here at home. We've got a total of 57.5 in this game. I like Tennessee here at -4 a lot. Florida has been a very rough team to figure out this season, and it seems they largely played to the level of their competition. We've seen Florida be competitive against some of the toughest teams in the nation, but they can go to Kentucky and lose 7-38. Florida doesn't have a whole lot to play for at 3-7 overall. The Gators can't even reach bowl eligibility if they close this thing out undefeated down the stretch. Tennessee has the second-ranked offense in the country. We see that being the difference maker for the Vols as they separate enough on the scoreboard to get us a win and cover in this one by at least a touchdown. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we've got the number 11 BYU Cougars going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. BYU comes in this game 9-1 on the season, fresh off that blowout win over TCU. Now they've got a real test here heading into Cincinnati, so we'll see how it goes. But at number 11 in the nation, they are clinging to one of those last college football playoff spots, and we'll see if they can keep it rolling here against TCU. Obviously, pretty much everything went the way they would want. Bachmeier threw for almost 300 yards and a touchdown with 0 interceptions. The running game was on point. 151 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Martin and Buckmeyer both chipping in there big time. They did fumble the ball away once, Schultz did, but defensively they looked great, giving up only 13 points, grabbing a couple of interceptions, slowing down the run, stopping the pass. A very, very good day out there. Giving up only 13 points in a college football game is dominant stuff. And over the course of the season, they're 13th in the nation, giving up only 17.8 points per game. So they have to feel like they are very well positioned here heading into the last couple games of the season. Heading into Cincinnati to take on the Bearcats, they are not a walkover opponent. They're 7-3 on the season. They are coming off back-to-back losses, losing at Utah and then at home against Arizona. But they've played some good games against some good teams, have a win against Iowa State early in the season, although that win doesn't look as amazing now. But in their 6-point loss there against Arizona, Sorsby was not great. 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 154 yards to the air. Walker was very good in the running game, so that'll be the big concern here for BYU. Can they stop the run? I think they've shown that they can this season. Cincinnati only turned the ball over those 2 times, but that was more than enough to give Arizona way too much rope here. The Bearcats could not stop the run in this game, couldn't stop the pass either. It was a pretty brutal performance for a Cincinnati team that had been playing okay. They are 52nd in the nation in defense, 22nd in rushing yards per game. But when you look at how they've done against step-up opponents, like getting obliterated there at Utah was not a great look. They are at home for this one. They are getting 2.5 points. We've got a total of 54.5 in this game. But guys, I'll definitely take BYU -2.5. I do think this will be a competitive contest, but I've got a lot more confidence in BYU. They're 25th in the defense in the nation compared to Cincinnati's 88th in total defense. The Bearcats are a team we've been pretty high on this season, but they've taken a step back, losing their last 2 outings and less than impressive fashion in both those games. BYU has a lot more to play for at this point, 9-1 overall, trying to get into the playoff, and this is a great opportunity for them to add a resume-building win here, especially playing on the road. So I think this is an excellent spot here to back BYU. Last but not least here, guys, we're looking at the Washington Huskies going on the road to take on the UCLA Bruins. Washington's 7-3 on the season. They just obliterated Purdue last week, 49-13. They've got a pretty interesting close to their year, going to UCLA and then hosting Oregon. So we'll see how it goes. I'm expecting pretty good stuff from this team in that blowout win over Purdue. I know it was just Purdue, guys, but still, putting up 49 points is impressive. Williams Jr., 257 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Washington, 108 yards and only 5 carries. Mohammed, 59 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on 17 carries. They did fumble it away once, but overall a pretty clean game for them offensively, and they put up almost 50 points. And defensively, giving up only 13, dominated Purdue, really slowed down their running attack, shut off their water there in the passing game, had a generated a turnover, and for the Huskies, having a great day defensively is becoming much more commonplace. They're 20th in the nation, giving up only 19.3 points per game, and we all know what this team has been able to do offensively this season. So we'll see what they do here on the road, taking on a UCLA team that at 3-7 on the year. I mean, it hasn't been great. They are somehow 3-4 in Big Ten play, but their last 3 games, they lost by 50 against IU, they lost by 7 against Nebraska, and then they lost by 38 last week there at Ohio State. Obviously, those are some pretty tough opponents. We'll see what they can do against what would look like potentially a more manageable opponent here against Washington. Against Ohio State, they were just not able to stay attached, guys. They didn't turn the ball over, which is a great look against a very great team, but still, you lost by 38. Like, you don't get a whole lot of credit for having a good game. They couldn't get the run going, could barely get the pass going, and defensively, they just got shredded. And UCLA, over the course of the season, they're 124th in the nation in defense. So that's not great. Not great. So we'll see what they can do here at home. They're getting 10.5 points. We've got a total of 51.5 in this game. Washington is minus 10.5 in this one, and we'll take the Huskies. There's no denying they've been the much better team at home than on the road, but perhaps staying out west to play UCLA will help here with the travel situation. Washington really impressed us last week, that 49-13 win over Purdue. We like the Huskies to carry over that positive momentum into this one against the struggling Bruins. UCLA's been playing better after their head coach was fired, but that magic seems to have worn off. They've lost 3 in a row, both straight up and against the spread, and I think this is going to be another against the spread loss for them in this one. And guys, that's all the games we've got here for today. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and let us know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. I'm more than happy to get back to you. I appreciate everybody watching these videos. Make sure you're clicking the link in the description to get over there to stumpthespread.com. Check out all the free stuff we offer on over there. Make sure you get on that free email newsletter by signing up for a free account. Also, check out all the premium stuff. There's going to be a bunch of college football premium action in the premium section and tons of premium content there on the NFL side for those games coming up on Sunday. So definitely want to get in on that. And guys, we'll see you right back here tomorrow, same time, same place for more sports betting action.